For those of you who are interested in guitar history and know a little bit about it, when Django Reinhardt came to America, he came without a guitar. He thought guitar manufacturers would come and visit him and throw their guitars at him, and nobody knew who he was or that he was here. He wound up borrowing a guitar from Freddie Green of the Count Basie Band and did his American tour with a guitar that has been photographed many times without the headstock showing. So it kind of looks like a Gibson, and people assume it's a Gibson. But when you see the full photograph with the headstock, it turns out to be a Levin guitar, built in Sweden.
What's interesting about how that guitar ended up in his hands really starts with an art teacher in the late 1800s in the countryside of Sweden. My great-grandfather was only a few years old and had an infection in his ear that led him to be deaf. He tried to keep up in school, but he really couldn't, and he was working on the family farm. On his breaks, he would sometimes pick up pieces of wood and carve them, and one day a family friend who was an art teacher happened to notice he was really talented with woodworking. And she said to the parents, "You should really consider getting some art lessons for this child." In the late 1800s, in the backcountry of Sweden, that's what they did. They put him into art classes, and little by little, he developed his talent for wood to the point where he enrolled in a local art school, never recovering from his deafness. Then he won a scholarship to go to Gothenburg, the second largest city in Sweden. He was seeing all these ships leaving in the late 1800s to go to New York City, and he thought, I need to get on one of those steamers, which he did when he was 18 years old, not knowing how to speak a word of English. During his travels across the ocean, he picked up a newspaper, he spoke to his shipmates, and he taught himself some basic English. So when he came to New York City, he started to work more with wood, mostly furniture, and it was somebody who said to him, I'm not sure who it was.
His name was Ben Ari. He was in the music business, and he said, if you can make guitars, I can sell them.
And he did. He made 6 guitars and cases, and that's how Levin got started on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. After several misfortunes, including the factory burning down 3 separate times, one night before his daughter's wedding, he said, what can you do? You just spit in your hand, you take a tighter grip. And that's who he was, and that's how this company started, which ended up in Django's hands.
And what's also very interesting is Annika is 4th generation in the music business. Herman Carlson is her great-grandfather. And my wife, Elizabeth Levin, and I had been married for 49 years, and we actually met at a NAMM show.